everybody, welcome back. This is our second sharing call in the Collaboration Connection Project. With me here today are Alison from Allie the Unicorn, Maria from Maria Filar, and Lindsay from Love Me A Latte. And of course me, Tanya, from 10,000 Days of Gratitude. So today we're going to share with one another in pairs 5 things which we consider to be a positive trait of one another. So we're going to start today with Alison and myself sharing.
Okay, so one positive trait that I've noticed from you, Tanya, is just how incredibly calm and soothing your demeanor is, your voice. It's very relaxing. I feel like you could record audiobooks and then I could just pull up and listen to your voice reading an audiobook and it would just be like, ah.
It might put you to sleep, however. Thank you. So one positive trait I notice about you is that you are incredibly enthusiastic. You bring a real high energy to everything that you do. And, you know, it's kind of the opposite to me. You know, the energy that you bring is really fantastic. You know, it keeps people going and gets them excited.
So another positive trait is your sense of style. I like all your like really cool paintings in the background, just the artistic aesthetic that you have behind you. Like even right now with the lamp and with the picture and with the plant, I really enjoy that. It kind of goes along with your with that sort of calm demeanor that you have. It just like it matches your personality very well.
Thank you. Another positive quality I see in you is that you have the ability to be lighthearted and funny and jokey, and that takes, you know, some humility as well as the ability to not take things too seriously.
Another positive quality that you have is just your openness and your honesty. You know, just being very upfront with some of the more difficult things, especially the difficult questions. You know, the one from our second set, from questions 10, 11, and 12, you were a little hesitant to answer the last question, but you were very open with it and you were very forward with it as well.
Thank you. Another positive trait that I see in you, that I admire in you, is your faithfulness. And that it seems to not be, there's a lot of people who say that they are of a certain faith, but it's a Sunday or a Christmas Christian, and it seems to permeate everything in your life. And so your faithfulness is really admirable.
Another positive quality is just the fact that you are willing to focus on positive aspects. Your whole YouTube channel is about showing gratitude and how healthy it is to show gratitude about things. And, you know, just there's not a lot of YouTube channels out there that focus on what the positive things are. A lot of them will do negative, and they can be funny. Admittedly, they can be really funny, but there's very few out there that encourage people to, hey, be thankful. What are you thankful for today?
Thank you. Another positive quality that I really admire in you is that you have the ability to be self-reflective and question your motives and question whether you could have done things better. And where I got that was, I think one time you mentioned how you wish you had been better towards your younger brother as a child, and don't we all? You know, so but I think that that's something that you do is you're very self-reflective and questioning. Yeah.
And the last one, you're incredibly patient. You seem to be very relaxed and patient with people. Like I've called you Maria probably like 3 or 5 times, and you're just like, it's fine. So just that openness to be like, you know, to be forgiving and to be patient with people.
I think Maria's probably patient on that too. My final one for you is something I admire in you is you're a romantic, and that you believe in love and marriage, and that's something you really want in your life. And yeah, I think that's really lovely to see.
And I would also like to point out that I'm a romantic in the sense of Frank James's video when he's talking about the Enneagrams, and the romantic personality goes, if you ask me to do the dishes one more time, I am jumping out that window. And that is absolutely me with my housemates. So
Yeah, there's pluses and minuses to every characteristic trait when we take it to the extreme. Okay, so next we're going to go around to Alison and Maria to share their 5 things with one another.
Hello.
No.
Okay, I'll go first. You, Alison, are extremely optimistic, which was touched on, but it's especially appreciated by me because I tend to be very pessimistic, and it's nice to see the example of optimism expressed.
Maria, I absolutely adore your style. You're probably going to hear me say, because I do, I adore your style. I enjoy your art style. I enjoy your artwork. Just your makeup and your clothes are like always on fleek. So I really enjoy your sense of style.
Thanks. I know we're not supposed to repeat, but I feel like this is such a big one. Your faith is very admirable, that you have such strong convictions. And I know it can be hard, especially for people in their 20s and 30s. It's like a weird time, at least for me. So it's nice to see you so just strong in your convictions and not wavered by culture or like what everyone else thinks. So that's very admirable.
Maria, I really like just your sense of humor. I know we haven't joked around too often, but your video about the face challenge, right? Doing the face challenge and drawing that little smile on your nose. It was funny. I'm like, is this a filter? And then I watched the video and she goes, nope, she just put makeup on her nose. Okay.
It was inspired by someone else. I didn't come up with it.
I figured because I've seen other little like thumbnails with it, but just your willingness to use your artwork to goof around and have a good time as well.
Allie, you're extremely friendly. I really appreciated when we became Instagram friends. You were very curious and wanted to get to know me, and you were asking me lots of questions, and that was really nice to feel like someone was like interested in getting to know me. So your friendliness is awesome.
I really like how introspective you are, and I know that's part of the I, right? Hopping back on Myers-Briggs, that's part of the I right there is, or part of the I and the N really. So I really admire that, and just how you're willing to reflect, and just how you said, well, things might not be the way I wanted them to be growing up, but I want to grow through that, and I want just your desire for better things for the future.
Thanks. You're very spunky. I don't know if that if that's the same as what I've already said, but your spunkiness is awesome, and that ties in with a sense of humor and just like not being self-conscious about your bubbliness. I know some people try to like tone it down, but you embrace it, and I appreciate that.
Maria, I really like that you're willing to open up, because I know for certain types of intuitive types, they can be a little more reserved, and especially to strangers, be nervous about opening up to people. So just the fact that you're willing to do this project and open up, speaks a lot about your character.
I'm an oversharer. I think my sister or someone posted a meme the other day about millennials oversharing on the internet because of their like upbringing of not talking about feelings, and I'm like, it's me. I thought it was funny.
No, that is definitely funny.
So this is the 5th one, I believe.
Yeah.
You're very talented. I watched your singing videos, as you know from past videos. I can't sing and I want to be able to sing. So I envy your skill and your talent.
Thank you. And then finally, I admire your friendliness as well. And just this is kind of like jumping back on the humor train, but I feel like I got to talk about it more. I just listening to your podcast with Frank James about online dating and just your sense of humor in like taking the ridiculously of certain things and just kind of making fun of it, but in a way that's not really that mean. It's like, well, do you really, like, where's your face? All I see is your bare chest, you know?
Well, I'm glad that people took it that way, because like I said before, I was afraid I was coming off too pessimistic.
No, it was, well, the thing is the delivery, it was a very dry humor, which made it fun. So
thanks. I like my humor too.
Thank you, ladies. If Maria and Lindsay will share with one another their 5 things.
So one thing off the bat is I love how passionate you are about your work. I know you're really hardworking. You put a lot of effort into your artwork, and I just really admire that.
That's funny because I'm a procrastinator times 100, so I'm glad it doesn't come off that way. Lindsay, you're very knowledgeable. Your videos are very like, you know what you're talking about, and the way you deliver things you're talking about, it shows. Like for me, I'm just like flubbering half the time and not knowing what to say, but you're very just like, I got this, I know my stuff. So I like that a lot about you. It's a good quality.
Okay, thanks, because I don't really know how I come across in videos. So another thing is I was kind of going through some of your Instagram posts, and one thing I really like is how much you care about like societal and like mental health issues. I love that you post about that because it's really not talked about enough in today's society. So I really enjoy that you do that, and you do it in a creative way with your artwork, which I really like.
That's the goal. So good. You have a very chill, mellow, calming personality. You're just listening to you talk is soothing. And it's not really anything you can control, but your accent is cool. I don't think I've ever like spoken to anyone that lives on the far east coast of Canada. So it's a very like, it almost has a little bit of a drawl. It's weird. Like, I don't really know how to place it, but it's like the New Yorker Kennedy, but with a Southern drawl. It's awesome. I love it.
Thank you. Okay, so number 3. Okay, so I noticed from your videos that and from the podcast as well that you did with Frank James, is you have a really good way of talking to people where people feel comfortable. Like when I listen to you, I feel like I'm talking like with a friend. Like the way that you talk is awesome. Like, yeah, like it's really like you're sitting down, having a coffee chat with your friend. I really like how you deliver your videos.
Thanks. I used to be so shy and weird, so that's makes me feel good to know that I've progressed. I think you're extremely thoughtful. And that kind of ties again to being knowledgeable, but when you talk and speak, it's there's like, you can tell there's thought put into it, which is great.
Again, I try. Okay, so another one for you, I know Allie kind of touched on it a little bit, but is your sense of humor, and in particular your sass. I love the sassiness. It's awesome. So I'm a pretty sassy person too. I might not come across it as much on my YouTube channel, but I really do appreciate your sense of humor for sure.
Thanks. I do get that, like Tanya said, from my dad. So that kind of relates to what you just said. Your sense of humor, maybe not as much in your videos yet, but your channel's new. But just when we were chatting before recording, we got to just like talk and be casual more. And yeah, I can tell that your sense of humor is similar to me in like that dry, introverted type of way, which I feel a strong kinship with that type of sense of humor.
Thank you. Okay, and another thing I noticed from like YouTube and also from Instagram is how supportive you are of other people. So about like our fellow, YouTube creators, but also artists as well. I see that you're promoting a lot of other artists' work, and that's so great to be supportive and not to be like all like a jealous person and, be like, oh, it's all about me. I'm better than you. Like you're not like that at all. You're very laid back that way, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. And Lindsay, if you and I would share our 5 things now.
So one thing that I noticed off the bat is how hardworking you are. It seems like you have your day job, but then you're also doing artwork and you're doing YouTube. And I find that you put a lot of effort into everything that you do. I really appreciate that. I think it's such a great quality.
Thank you. It has its downside too. I think being hardworking is great, but being a workaholic is not. But one thing I really admire about you that I noticed in one of your videos is your great imagination. And it was when you talked about the way that you and your brother would play together creating skits. And I didn't sound like you were really little kids. So, that quality of being able to imagine things is really fantastic.
Thanks. And so something I've noticed from your videos is that I found you're really good with your words and how you talk in general in terms of, I find that you get to the point, but at the same time, you give us enough detail when you talk. I think you're really good with your words. You're really articulate. Like when I watch your videos, I don't think that you're dragging things along, but I also don't feel like you're just like, chop, 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 get to the point. So I really enjoy listening to your videos because of that. And I think you just have a really good way of talking and way with your words in general.
Thank you. I have to admit, a lot of that is editing because I do ramble.
Well, you do a good job at editing.
Thank you. For you, I really admire your courage to follow your inner guidance. I thought it was really amazing that you were in one program and then looked at what you really, what you were really passionate about, and then decided to pursue that without telling anybody and without consulting anybody. You just knew. And so that's really a really great strength in you. Yeah.
Thank you. That's something, it was pretty shocking even to myself that I would do something like that, but it just, sometimes you just listen to what's in your head and you just got to go with, your heart. Yeah. All right. So another one that I've noticed too is that you have a very adventurous spirit. You've traveled all around. You like to go and do outdoors things. And I think that you're really courageous for doing those things as well. Like I couldn't imagine even moving to the US and living there. Like that type of thing would scare me. Like just leaving the East Coast really scares me. So the fact that you were able to do that is really amazing to me and really courageous. And I just love it.
Thank you. My first place that I lived in New York City when I moved away from Canada was Hell's Kitchen. And yeah, that was courageous. It really was. It was a bit scary. So another quality that goes along with the other things I've said is that what I find in you is really an eternal hope and a hopefulness. And I really find that admirable. It's really easy to be pessimistic or to, get down about what's happening in the world right now. But you always seem to be very hopeful about the future. And I really admire that.
Thank you. I try. All right. So number 4 for me. So something I've noticed and I love it is how sweet you are when you're interacting with other people and how supportive you are of other people. Like I noticed that you always comment back on people's stuff. Like you always reply back and you always write these long and insightful and just really sweet comments to other people. And I just really think that's great. I really do think it makes people's day when you do that. So, just keep on keeping on with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Something I really admire in you, and it's something so important in life, is that you value actions over words. And I think that you value that not only in others, but you hold yourself to account for that. And that is really an admirable quality.
Thank you. All right, the last one I have to touch on it. I know it was already touched on, but I have to say it, is I love how optimistic and positive you are, especially in your YouTube videos. It's really great to see that change. You know, there's so much negativity going on in the world currently. So to be able to watch your videos, it just always makes me feel like, it puts me in a better mood, and it makes me feel grateful for what I do have in my life. So again, keep on keeping on with that.
Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you, Lindsay. So if we can go and hear Alison and Lindsay share their 5 things.
All right, well, I will go first.
Okay.
So one of the things that I really like about you, Lindsay, is just your ability to, and your willingness to address difficult topics. Your YouTube videos, you talk about some positive things, like, hey, you know, this is why quarantine, you know, quarantine isn't so bad. You know, it's trying to address these difficult things and putting a positive twist on some, but other ones, just things that everyone struggles with, especially women. I'm not saying men don't struggle with that issues, but addressing those issues that we as women tend to struggle with, because a lot of the times we can feel alone in that, thinking I'm the only one who's experiencing this, I'm the only one who feels this way. And just addressing those topics and letting people know, hey, you're not alone. Like, I'm feeling this way. Everybody else is feeling this way. And just, you know, really diving into those topics and exploring them.
Thank you. That's totally what my channel is all about. It's helping people. I want people to feel like they're not alone. So that means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. And for you, like right off the bat, the first thing is I love how silly and quirky you are. After I watch your videos, I always laugh out loud. Like, I love your sense of humor. I love the high energy, the quirkiness. Like, it's great stuff.
Thanks. So my next thing is just your openness, and this kind of piggybacks off the other one, but you're very open with your struggles. You're very, very vulnerable, and that's scary, especially when you can't see how your audience is responding. You're just talking to a camera and, you know, telling the camera your struggles, and then like, here world, here's my heart. So just being how open you are about the things that you have gone through. I think that's a wonderful quality, because it's that openness. And I remember you saying, I believe you said in your last question video that you value honesty in your relationships and in your friendships, as well as accountability. So you're modeling it.
Yay. Okay, great. Okay, so another thing that I noticed too is I find, at least maybe you don't think this about yourself, but I see it, is I think that you are a really confident person. You seem very like sure of yourself. You seem very confident in front of the camera. And yeah, I can just tell that you're being like your genuine self. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm like, my brain's like, all right, next point. And I'm like, say thank you. So my next one is your humility. You, in your last video, you talked about how, you know, accountability, and that's a big one. A lot of people aren't willing to admit when they're wrong. Mm-hmm. They're not willing to admit when they have screwed up. And so your willingness to be like, hey, if I screw up, I'll tell you and I'll apologize for it, right? And not even that, and I expect you to do the same thing, is something I really like. So telling it like it is, but in your own very relaxed, chill way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So another one for you, I know it was touched on, but I'm going to put my own personal spin on this one, but I really love how high energy, like your high energy that you put into your videos. You seem like a very energetic person. And I'm the opposite. I'm trying to figure some stuff out, but I think I have some type of chronic fatigue going on. So I'm tired a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. I used to even have to like nap a lot. I don't have to do it as much. It's getting better over time. And I've always been kind of like, you know, you guys have touched on this, being like really calm, and that is kind of how I am. So I really appreciate when people are the opposite of me. Like, I love that.
Thank you. Your goals, right? You want to grow, which is something I admire incredibly in a human, is when they want personal growth, when they're seeking to grow, they can recognize, hey, there's something I want to improve in, or there's something I'm not good at and I want to get better at it. So they have these goals and they want to grow through that. Here's where I am right now. Here's where I want to be. And I really admire recognizing where you're at and then seeing, okay, but here's where I want to be, and this is what I'm going to work towards.
Okay, and then another one for you is that I do find you really relatable. So just over our chats that we've had on Instagram, and also that video that you did, like being in your mid-20s, I would relate it to that so much. I'm like, yes, girl, like this is me too. So I think that you come across that way to other people too. And I know, like, we had a couple commenters who were I don't know if you saw those comments that Sierra left. I don't know if she might see this video later too. But she's like, oh, like, I don't have a Jolly Rancher pillow, but can I join your club? Like, I felt like she could really relate as well. So I feel like it's not just me, but there's a whole wide range of audience members who are able to really enjoy your videos and relate to them.
Okay, last one, just your softness. And that kind of goes along with the calm a little bit, but you just have this innate softness about you, about your demeanor, about your voice, about your style, you know, how you present yourself. And it's very, it puts...
All right, so Maria, if you and I can share our 5 things now.
Okay. I'll start. Tanya, I think you're a very empathetic person. You have a way of being, I can tell that you're not just being nice when you're talking to somebody or relating to them, you're really relaying your empathy, and how you can always seem to find the common thread, which can be very hard to do. So empathy is a very important trait, and I think you're extremely empathetic, and I find it really admirable and something that I'm working on. So looking to you for that example has been a good thing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, I would say you're doing pretty good at it.
Thanks.
My first one that I want to share with you was already taken, but I'm going to take a little twist on it. And that's that I really appreciate about you, the way that your aesthetic is cohesive. So your artwork and your apartment and your style in clothing and hair and makeup, everything comes together. And it's a unified expression of you. And I think about, in London, there's these 2 artists, Gilbert and George. And if you don't know them, have a look for them. They're artists who call themselves living sculptures, so that everything they do, every step they take is an expression of their artwork. And to me, that's what I think of when I think of you.
Awesome. Thank you. That's good to hear. We know that I like to be unique. So that's good. I'm glad it's coming across that way. The second thing that I appreciate about you, this one kind of is all encompassing, but you're a very kind person. And kindness, in my opinion, is one of the most important things you can be, because there's so much that goes into it, and there's so much that kindness can do. It can change your attitude towards yourself and other people. It's a great way to lead by example. Like, to see someone else being kind really, at least for me, inspires me to take a step back and be like, this is effective. I want to it's just so important to be treated with kindness and to treat other people with kindness. And I think it can really change the way people act and view the world when they see other people being kind. So your example being set is really inspirational.
Thank you. I would say I got that from my mother, definitely. She's probably the kindest person that I've ever met. The second thing I'd like to share is your compassion for women and particularly for yourself. So we all have had struggles with our body image, with fat shaming, with mental health, and you have a lot of compassion for the challenges that we have faced. And sometimes we fall down and sometimes we get back up again, and you have compassion for that. But what is particular is that I see that you have compassion for yourself and your younger self, and that's so important. It reminds me of Gloria Steinem saying that one of the most important things a feminist can do is to have compassion for her younger self and not to beat up on herself. And I really admire that in you.
Thank you. It's a work in progress. Therapy helps. So the third thing that I admire about you is your strength, and especially how that strength comes across in your gratitude journals. It takes a very strong person to, go through a lot in life and go through a lot of crap and still be able to not give up and just be super pessimistic and see the bad in things, which I tend to do. So when I see you finding gratitude in things that other people, such as myself, have a hard time seeing because I'm too focused on the negative, you've helped me learn that you can be grateful for bad things. Like, it's not, I think gratitude a lot of the time, at least in my experience, like the stereotype is gratitude focuses on like the more positive aspects, but I think the real definition of gratitude is finding the silver lining in bad things, and you've demonstrated that and made me kind of think more about the way I think about it.
Thank you. Again, I had some good models on that, and Brother David is a great example of that. And also, I would say I have my moments, and my friends often remind me, shouldn't you be practicing gratitude on that one? Okay. So,
well, we're all human.
Yeah.
You can't have perfect standards all the time.
Yeah, and I think it's something that gets better with practice. I
Mhm.
mean, I've been 6 years almost at it, so I wasn't so great at it in the beginning.
Yeah.
The third thing I would share with you is that I really admire how you have a real concern for a lot of different causes, whether it's animal welfare or um, women's recovery from abuse or victimization, or whether it's healthcare workers or what it is. You really throw yourself into care and compassion for that cause. But beyond that, it's not just words, it's really action. You really take action and put your money where your mouth is, and you give up some of your income towards these things, and you work to use your skills to help promote these things. And it's in everything you do and everything you say, and that's like there's a sense of integrity around the way that you approach causes, and it's really admirable.
Thank you so much. It's important. I wish I could give more monetarily right now, but I have my artwork in my platform, so I'm trying to utilize whatever I can. So I'm glad it's being recognized. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The fourth, yes. The fourth thing, you're very talented. I saw your artwork, which is always changing in the background, like we've discussed. I just received a postcard in the mail from you with one of your paintings, and you've shared a bit with me about your painting background, and painting is a definite talent that I especially relate to. So I really admire and appreciate your artistic talent as a kindred spirit.
Thank you. When I was a kid, I did really terrible in art class, and I remember
Wow.
going home, with a report card that says doesn't handle scissors well. And so from that moment on, I was like, art's gone. It's all math and
Wow.
science, maybe literature. And so I really only came back to it in the last 5 years or so.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's
thank you.
awesome.
Thank you. So the fourth thing that I would share with you is that I think you're very bravely independent. And I admire that you wanted, I think it was Spain. You wanted to go to Spain and then London, and was it Paris?
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't necessarily people to go with you, and you didn't sit and dream about it. You just did it. And I think that's so fantastic. And it's very brave
Thank
to
you.
do.
I like freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that, like I said, I wanted to always do. And I had traveled with my ex a lot, but we never had gone on an international trip. And then that relationship ended, and I was kind of like, I still want to go, but if I wait for a partner, it could be 10 years. So I'm going
Right.
to go, and it's going to be amazing. And it was. So
That's,
bravery is rewarded.
that's great.
Yeah. So Tanya, the last thing is kind of I'm going to bundle them. You're not only supportive, but you're also helpful. And what I mean by that is, since we started as Instagram friends, you've always been very supportive in the messages you send, but you're also helpful in the way that you send along things that you think I would be interested in. And I find that really thoughtful, because like, it shows me that you really care about other people living their potential and doing things that are going to help them improve and succeed. And that's a really supportive thing to do, especially for someone that you really don't know. So I think that's awesome, and I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you. I did recently a career test kind of thing. And one of the things that came up as my top 3 things was that I like to support and mentor and coach people and things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm glad it's coming through, because I'd like to use that more in my life. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fifth thing that I will share with you, and I was laughing as I wrote it down for myself as a prompt,
What's it
because,
going to be?
well, it goes back to your very first video, and you were saying that people think you're not approachable, but I think you're completely approachable
Oh,
and
my
very,
RBF. Not
yeah.
when I'm not talking. That's the problem. When you're not talking and you're just standing there, I have the RBF very badly.
Well, I don't find it. I think that you're very warm and approachable, and I think that you put people at ease, and your style in itself helps you to be warm and to come across as warm and approachable, because I know that you are warm, and um, yeah, in a conversation, I think you're one of the people that puts everybody at ease.
Oh, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
think that's a newer development, to be perfectly honest. Like I've said before, anti-anxiety medications really helped my social bubbliness come through,
Mm-hmm.
because I was very shy and awkward and had a really hard time making small talk. And and maybe it's just something that comes with age, but it could be a combo of both. But I'm happy that it's coming across that way either way. And I'm happy that it's easier for me to connect with people and talk to them. So I'm so glad to hear that.
Well, it's coming through.
Yay.
Well, thank you, ladies. That was a great session. And thank you also to Alison, who had to drop off the call early. Our next session in Collaboration Connection will be each person individually answering the first 3 of the set 3 questions, which becomes even more intimate. And so please check out on Tuesday the channels of Maria Filar, Love Me A Latte, and Ali the Unicorn. And of course, come back to mine, 10,000 Days of Gratitude. Thank you, ladies. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.